All right, welcome guys to our Valentine's call to manifest infinite love and take our relationships to infinite next level. Let's get started. We actually started and we're re-hitting the record button.
Sorry,
So
people can
it's just
record.
yeah, sorry guys. But it's my I'll be hosting with Carine and we have a beautiful group here. And the first thing that I just asked Carine, I just asked Carine, what did she do in order to manifest her life partner, her king into her life? And many of you have already responded saying a lot of you are single, desiring to manifest a soulmate. With some of you saying I'm in a relationship, would like to take it to the next level. So the first question is, what are the top three things that you've done, or the top things that you've done to manifest your soulmate?
Yeah, like you mentioned previously, there's so many practices, so many ways and activations, and I want to keep it super simple because I like making things simple and easy. Everything is energy. So the relationship that you're calling in, whether you're single or in a relationship right now, this ideal desired outcome in this relationship that you're craving has a certain energetic frequency. What we want to do is we want to elevate our own frequency to match that of what which we're calling in. So a lot of the work that I have done over the years to call in my king was to just align with that frequency of love, right? Really align with that frequency of love, really work on alchemizing my blocks to bliss and live in this energy of pleasure. So the work that I do is I really help people activate their pleasure, which is their birthright. So living in that energy of joy and pleasure. And I'm not speaking about just embracing the love and light, because we're not talking about just, being positive, good vibes only. No, we're dealing with our shit. We're working with our shadows, right? But we're using that energy of pleasure as an alchemical experience to alchemize your blocks to bliss. So a lot of the work that I did is really moving that energy out of my body and my subconscious mind to really work with my belief systems and the karmic cycles that I had been stuck in, the patterns that I had been stuck in.
Right.
And I also used a lot of visualization and really feeling like I was in the energy of what the relationship that I was calling in. So some of the things that I did were really feeling his frequency, feeling him be with me in my energy. So I love physical touch is my number one love language. So I would imagine as I was driving the car, I would imagine my king holding my hand the whole time. And I would even put my hand out on the little armrest and I would feel his hand holding me and I would just smile and I would just feel his frequency. And I would be in the kitchen, for example, and I would imagine him just grabbing me from the back as I was cooking and would kiss my neck and like we'd dance together. And I would just I would actually physically dance in my kitchen, feeling him being there, doing exactly what I want him to do. I could really feel his existence, like his essence. He was present in my life. Every night before I went to bed for about a year and a half, I would say, "Good night, my love. Good night, my king. Sweet dreams. I love you, blah, blah, blah." And I would feel him next to me. And I would smile. And it wasn't from the perspective of something is missing in my life. Like I wasn't like, oh, I really need this right now. It wasn't out of
Right.
desperation. It was like
Very
just
important point.
right, just bathing in the frequency of love, of his frequency. Um, and now he does all of those things without me even asking for it. So he holds my hand in the car every single time we're in the car. He will always hold my hand in the kitchen
Beautiful.
when I'm cooking. He will grab me and we will dance and he kisses me just like I imagined and visualized. Every
Wow.
night since the day we met, we say goodnight and sweet dreams. Every night we have a rich sacred ritual of saying goodnight to each other.
I
So
love that. There's a few people that are saying they are doing that. So for those
yeah.
that are doing that and it's still not happening, can you share some more, like one tangible example of the healing part of that? Because that's the other part, right? It's like if you're doing the visualization, manifestation, imagine it happening right now, but there's still something subconsciously that's pushing it away. What are
Mhm.
some of, like, were you working with others, doing healing on yourself with your own modality? What are like the biggest ones that really help clear that deeper inner work that most people don't really want to do? It's not super fun and exciting for
Yeah.
some people, but I love it.
Yeah, and it's a combination. It's a combination of my own personal journey, my own personal work. I have a lot of tools and resources being on the tantric path for several years. But of course, I called in support and I had my own healers and coaches who held space for me. I joined containers and to align that frequency, right?
Right.
So for me, it's this energy of anytime you're manifesting something, anytime you're calling in something, if you're approaching it from an energy of lack or
Right.
activation or need, you're repelling it. So I did find myself doing these practices and then questioning, like, when is this gonna fucking happen? When is he gonna come up? Like, I'm doing everything. Why isn't he showing up? And there's that frustration, is that desperation energy that was repelling him, right?
Right.
When I called him in, I was in this space of full faith, trust, and surrender. Like,
Mm,
I just knew he, without a shadow of a doubt, that he would show up in my life when the timing was right. It's that trust, like that unwavering faith
mhm.
that he will show up. Um, and the other part was, God, create the best life. Create your best life. Focus on creating this juicy, pleasurable, delicious life with
Wow.
or without this person, right? With or without you. I had this attitude of with or without you, baby. I am going full force in creating this dream life, and you can show up and grace me with your presence and love whenever we're ready.
My
And I
life is so
got that.
awesome, and with you, it's the cherry on top.
It's the cherry on top. It's an amplification of what I already have. You're not coming into my life to give
Fill
me
the void.
something that I was missing. Because
Yes.
God, I was on like fucking fire when I met him. I
Yeah.
just bought my first home on my own. My business was taking off. I was living my passion. I had beautiful friends in the community. Like, everything felt so good and juicy in my body. I had a fabulous love life on my own. Like, just my self-pleasure practice was like, right, amazing. And I was experiencing pleasure and orgasmic experiences just on my own. And so I was in a place of, was I fully healed? No, there is no such thing. That's bullshit,
Right.
right? So we want to
Yeah.
remove that lie in that programming. I think this is really important to address, is that there is no such thing as being fully healed and whole and complete and everything's great when I meet my person.
Yeah.
Fuck, shit I had to work on when I met him. Because I thought I was like on fire in a great place. Everything was amazing. And then you meet this person who's a divine mirror and a soulmate, and you're like, holy shit, he's like mirroring all my crap. And so a lot of the alchemy will happen, a lot of healing, the growth, the alchemy will happen in the relational dynamic. It
Right.
will. So you want to dispel that. We want to dispel that lie and that bullshit narrative that, oh, I have to be in like the perfect place. I have to be fully in my power when I meet my person. I wasn't. I wasn't. I healed a lot of stuff in my relationship, and I'm still working on things in my relationship. So there's a lot of yeah, when you're in that space of like, I am trying everything. I've been working for years to do all these manifestations and all these practices, and this person still hasn't shown up. And there's that frustration and that desperation and that need that we want to clear out of our space and just come into that softening, that surrender, that trust, that full, unwavering faith that if you keep aligning with your best life, don't hold your breath, right? You can love, accept, and be fully happy and content with your life, with or without this person. And then this
Right.
person will just come in to amplify what you've
Right.
already created and what you're already embodying, right?
I love it. How many single people here started holding their lovers' hands during that, imagining they were here right now? And if you didn't, I'm all about like, let's implement all the wisdom right now. So if you haven't, take a moment and just hold their hand right now. And just like Carine shared with us, amazing wisdom. Embody it in the now.
Yeah,
And then also remember, yeah, if it's not happening, yeah, you do the divine surrender, trust, allowing. And then
yeah,
also, what are the steps that I haven't dealt with now, that like what are the core steps in the way of it coming in now, if there are some things from the past, because all it takes is one belief that says, okay, love equates drama and trauma,
yeah.
or my last relationship was this, therefore I don't want to bring that in. So whatever unresolved belief, fear, emotion, subconscious trauma, or conscious could be keeping it at bay. So that those things we can work on. But in terms of the trap that Karine shared, I will first I'll first heal myself, then bring in the relationship. The easiest way is bring in the relationship, and it's going to fast track your evolution anyways. And evolution
100%.
is an ongoing thing. So no need to, um, like it's like an ongoing thing. So if anything, the relationship will amplify it and fast track it. So and even if you call in, like even if someone comes into your life now and they're not your forever person, they're going to fast track you to that next version of yourself, which is going to be the next version of your relationship, right?
Absolutely. And one thing I want to add to that is there's a misconception that a lot of our blocks and our beliefs are in our heads and in our subconscious and in our mind.
Right,
I really want to dispel this lie because it's
right.
in your body. So
It's in
trauma,
the body.
all the blocks that you have, the blocks to bliss, the trauma that you've experienced, the betrayal, all of the things, right? Even though the story and the narrative is playing in your head and in your subconscious, the
Right,
belief story is there. You're holding on to the imprint and the groove in your body and your nervous system. So a lot of
right.
the work I have done in the past and I do now with clients is somatic. Soma is Greek for body. So it's in your soma, it's in your physical temple body that's housing your soul, right?
Mm,
So, if you have a history of abuse, sexual aggression, whatever, betrayal, cheating, being catcalled, right? It could be something really tiny, but that creates a trauma imprint. That experience, that intense experience creates a trauma groove in your nervous system and in your body, right?
mhm,
And then we have the story and the memory in our brain and our limbic system, etc. All of that is in your head, the story. But the actual imprint that you want to move, that block, is in our body.
right.
Right. So that's the work that I do is really to move that energy and alchemize it from your nervous system and your body and create new grooves of safety. Because you want
Mhm,
to feel safe, right? It's feeling safe in your body, feeling safe in your power, feeling safe in your pleasure to be able to feel safe with someone else, right?
mhm. Yeah, any questions for Karine about this? So I'm learning a lot. The emotions and traumas are stored in the body. You want to do some somatic work, you can
Yeah.
reach out to me and Karine, and we're masters at alchemizing the stored emotions, traumas, beliefs, stories, all of that. And it's both. It's the story and it's the stored trauma.
Hmm. Hmm.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay. In terms of creating your life to be so juicy and so fun, so definitely we want to switch from I'm needing this,
Hmm.
need pushes things away. I have my cup full. I'm having such an awesome life. My needs are magnetizes. So I would love for you to share some grounded examples on how to fill our cup so that we actually feel full and that we
Yeah.
create such a juicy, delicious life that then becomes allows what we're desiring to be magnetized to us.
Yeah, yeah. It's important to really get to know yourself, like really get to know what you truly desire, like getting really clear. Like if we're not clear on what we want and we desire, the universe is gonna be like, I don't know what to send you. What are you asking for, right? So
Right.
if this is your ideal dream relationship partnership that you're calling in, how can you live that experience now, like I mentioned before, with or without this person? Right?
Mm,
What do you desire? Maybe it is to remember and connect with your purpose, right? And I use the word remember. It's not about learning or discovering. Everything's here. Like everything is in our body, everything's in our energy, right? So it's about remembering who you are
mm,
and what you desire and the life that you want to create for yourself. Like I didn't
mm,
wait for him to buy my house. I didn't wait for him to build and grow my business. I didn't wait for him to travel the world and have all these amazing experiences. I did all of that on my own, right? And I still do it in my relationship. I still do the things that give me that freedom and that expansion, right? So just create, focus on your desires. Do not wait. This is the mistake I see a lot of people making is do not wait for this relationship to live your life fully,
mm,
expansively. Take that trip, expand your business, go for that job, do the things you want to amplify and expand this energy of joy and being in that energy of pleasure and play. That's a big one. And as fire signs, we know how to play. As a Leo, I'm like, I am extremely playful and in touch with my playfulness and my inner child. Go wild, have fun, fill your cup, whatever that looks like for you. It might be different for me, right? And maybe, just a prompt for you all, what brings you alive? Like, feel into that ecstatic aliveness in your body. What makes you come alive? It could be painting, could be something
mm,
as simple as art if you're an artist. I love to cook and bake. Like that stuff like lights me up, right? Cooking nourishing, yummy meals for myself and for others, right? Love self-pleasuring. Buying new crystal dildos and yoni eggs, right? That stuff like lights me up because I love this work, right? What lights you up? What makes you come ecstatically alive and expands you so that you're just like in awe of life?
Right.
Just in awe of life. And I'm not talking about perfection because fuck, I'm not like this every day. There are mornings I wake up that I'm like, I don't want to face the world today, right? I have my moments, but I know how to get out of that funk. I have the tools and the resources to go, okay, there is a block. I'm going to move this energy out of my body. I'm going to do my somatic practices, my tantric activation practices, my breath, my vocal activations, whatever that looks like, right? It's like, how do you get yourself into alignment every day and come back to yourself, come home to yourself every day? Just
Yeah.
bring yourself back home into your body, into that safety, into that pleasure, into that joy, into that play, right?
Beautiful. Carine, we have a few questions, and I know we have 8 minutes for your activation. For our Virgo sides of us, that's very structured. And yeah, so this is the part where Carine's going to be sharing some activations with us. I love that I found that out about you because it's also a big part of me, that Virgo rising. So
Yeah.
which is the purifier, that's the healer, that's like what are all the impurities in our beings and in other beings, and let's cleanse it there. It's like that's why it's the virgin, right? It's like keep it pure.
Yeah.
So purify, not keep it pure, is a distinction
Purifying.
there, right? Yeah, Carine, please walk us through some activations, and let us know what they are.
Beautiful. Do you want me to do that first, or do we answer some of the questions that are there? Or we can
We'll
keep the
save
questions.
the Q and A's. I think the activations like the,
Right. Okay.
right, and
Beautiful.
we'll save
Okay.
questions. We're not going to be able to do everything we can do, and that's why there's the follow up. But we'll do as much as we can. But the definitely priority is your activations.
Perfect. Let's do that. And then just acknowledging that I see your questions and we will get to them afterwards. Beautiful. Okay. All right. So let's come into a comfortable seat in our bodies. You can rest your feet anywhere you like. Could be grounded on the floor, could be in lotus pose, whatever feels good for you right now. And if this is accessible to you, you can keep your spine as straight as possible. So we're going to do something a little challenging. We're going to keep our eyes open in a soft gaze. So we're not closing our eyes fully. We want to let the light in. We want to connect with our environment. We want to stay in our bodies. Hands are resting comfortably in your lap or on your thighs. Chin is gently tucked in. Tongue touches the roof of the mouth. And let's just take 10 breaths together. While we count the breaths, what we're inviting in here is presence and groundedness in our body in this moment, in this space. So on your next exhale, start by counting 1 to 10 breaths. And when you complete your 10 breaths, drop the counting and keep breathing long and deep in and out through your nose. Now, taking a moment to drop into your heart space. Dropping into your heart center, really tuning into her frequency, her essence, her desires. And once you've connected with your heart, ask her, what do you desire in your ideal relationship? What is it that you're calling in? What do you want to experience? And it's not so much what this person looks like or the qualities, it's how do you want to feel in this experience, in this relational dynamic? And start to use all your senses to see, feel, taste, smell, touch everything that you're calling in. If you have a hard time with visualization, use your other senses to support you. Just feel it, intend to see it. And just allow your heart to show you. And I invite you to amplify all of that by starting to feel what it would feel like to have all of this in your life right now. This is not in the future, it's right now. This is how we bend timelines. It's occurring now in this frequency. How do you feel? Maybe it's a little bit of nervous excitement. That's okay. Joy, anxiety, whatever it is, just feel it. Feel it all. And I want you to visualize all of these visions and dreams that you have for this relationship and just encapsulate it in a beautiful ball of light. And just leave it there for a moment. We're going to come back to it. And then we're going to move all the way down our bodies, our legs, and all the way down through the bottoms of your feet, traveling through the layers of the earth, going all the way into the center of the earth, connecting with the center of the earth, and seeing a small seed planted there, and placing your intention, the intention you set at the beginning of the session. Just plant that seed of intention and ground it into the center of the earth. And again, leave it there. And let's journey all the way back up, all the way into your sex chakra, into your yoni, your lingam, your penis, your pussy, just your genitals in that area. Just hold the frequency there. And just ask your sex what they want and what they desire to experience and feel in a relationship. This might be similar to what your heart is asking for, but it might also be different. Maybe you're looking for juicy, wild tantric sex and orgasmic experiences. Maybe there's something more pleasure, more adventure. What is she craving? What is she yearning for? Let her show you. Let him show you. Let it show you. Let them show you. Feel it, taste it, touch it, smell it, see it. All your senses. Mm-hmm. And if you have a physiological response to this, that's beautiful. Let your body do what it needs to do. Shaking, swaying, moving, tremors. Now encapsulate all of those visions to this beautiful ball of light and leave it there. And come all the way back down, down to the center of the earth. Let's water that seed of intention with anything you want to water it with. It could be unconditional love, trust, surrender, faith, resilience, power, passion. And watch that seed of intention blossom and bloom into a beautiful seedling and grow all the way up, 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 up through your sex chakra, gathering that ball of light with all of your visions for this ideal dream relationship of yours. Moving it all the way up as this beautiful, growing plant moves into your heart, gathers up and collects this ball of light, gathering all of your heart's desires. Moving it all the way up through the top of your crown, expanding it out into the ethers, into the universe, letting the universe know that this is what you desire, this is what you're calling in. Make it very clear. There is no settling. This is what you're calling in. And bring it all the way back up, all the way down, down your body, down and back into your sex. And we're going to amplify these visions with your life force energy, with your sexual energy, your chi, your prana. You're going to take a deep inhale in. You're going to squeeze your root lock, your pelvic floor, so your anus muscle, sex organs, lower belly. Pull the energy up and in and blast it all up, 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 up in front of your central channel. It's almost like a column of light, like a straw of light that's right in front of your spine, blasting that sexual energy all the way up, 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 and all the way up and out through the crown, amplifying that frequency with the energy of pleasure. And bring it all the way back down, back into your sex. I'm going to do that one more time. Deep inhale. Hold the visions, hold those visions and the dreams. Squeeze your root lock, your pelvic floor, anus, sex organs, lower belly. Pull that energy up and in. Bring it all the way up, 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 up through the crown, amplifying it out into the ethers. Almost like a beacon, a signaling device. Sending that message, bring it all the way back up into your body, all the way down, down, down into your body. Way down into your sex, and then all the way down through your legs and out through the bottoms of your feet, grounding it in, planting it in with your intentions. And let yourself stay in this space for a bit. Bathing in the aura of this manifestation, this amplified manifestation that you've just created. Bathing in the essence of all your desires and your dreams. And just tuning into the feelings and the sensations in your body and just observing without making up any stories or passing any judgment. Just witness, watch. Maybe notice your thoughts, any feelings, what you're experiencing. Just watch and just be with them and just let them flow. And on your next inhale, place one palm on your heart center, the other on your belly. And if you feel comfortable, you can place that other hand on your sex, on your yoni or lingam. And you can close your eyes here just for a moment, opening your mouth wide, deep inhale in through the mouth. Exhale out. Or regulating your nervous system to align with all of that which you're calling in. Let's do that 2 more times together. Beautiful. Coming back to breathing normally in and out through your nose. Just allowing your body to integrate this vision, the amplification, any block to bliss that you alchemize through this experience. Just allow it to integrate and land in your body, in your soma, so you can fully embody this truth. It's not just a story in your head, it is living in your body in the physical. adopting it as your truth. Hmm. And whenever you're ready, you can very gently wiggle your fingers and toes and lift your gaze and come back to the present moment. And I just invite you to do a little shaking. If you want to stand up and shake, go for it as well, but do it seated. Just shake every part of your body as you sound out. So what we're doing is we're vagal toning here. We're activating your vagus nerve, regulating your nervous system. Just look as silly as you want. Like, make yourself look ridiculous. It's super fun to look ridiculous and not give a shit what people think. It's like dance like everybody's watching and you don't give a shit. That's true liberation, right? Welcome back, everyone. Take a few moments here to arrive back into this space. I would love to hear from some of you. Put it in the chat. How did that feel for you? What came up for you? What did you notice? And just know that every experience is valid, right? If you didn't enjoy that and didn't like it, please voice that. That's your truth, and that's okay.
Thank you so much, Carine. That was so powerful. It seems so simple, but it's like just being in the moment, amplifying your powerful energy, manifestation energy,
Mhm.
sexual energy, bringing in the desired outcome as if it's happening right now. Would love to hear from you guys. How was that for you? And then the shake was really great. Shake out what's in the way. Lindsay says, I loved it. Thank you so much. Ram Chandra says, I felt a lot of energy in all the chakras and in particular my third eye and crown. Beautiful. Sarah Young says, I had realizations of things I wanted that I wasn't aware of. That's beautiful. Dakalo says, I felt so good. I'm dyslexic.
I'm glad.
Sheba
Yeah,
says, that was powerful and amazing, a bit sad. So releasing
mhm.
the sadness that's probably in the way of
Beautiful.
releasing energy. Beautiful.
Yeah. And I love how you said it's so simple because that's what I'm all about. Like, I'm a busy mama too, right? I
Yeah,
don't have time to sit and do 3-hour practices a lot of times, right? I just need it simple. And it is simple. I feel like we overcomplicate shit sometimes, right?
for sure.
It's really
For
simple to move
sure.
some of these energies out of our body, right?
Yes.
Lindsay, you're
Jeanette says,
hilarious.
powerful and expanding.
I do shamanic shake medicine, so I'm used to looking silly and don't care. Yes.
Hey, beautiful. All right, Kareen. Well, for me, the takeaway from that was really like I've never done this before in manifestation, but it was like just seeing me and my queen and like how we're inspiring people around us. And when we're having meals together, we're inviting people to eat with us and just having these beautiful conversations and just planting seeds of like, how did you guys do this? And just like inspiring people to open up to it. And then having this, I was really visualizing like having that healthy space outside of the relationship where I'm sitting with other people, hanging out with other people, nurturing relationships where it's not always me and them, and
Mhm.
that they were doing the same thing and they were go-getters but still in touch with their feminine, and together we were inspiring each other to be better versions of ourselves. And the parts of myself that I'm really like, oh my god, I'm so sensitive, my moon Pisces is so delicate, and if I see my queen talking to another guy, like my inner child gets these triggers, and like having the healthy, like for me it wasn't that she's creating codependency and like mothering my inner child whenever that happens, but there was a there wasn't like a judgment towards that. There wasn't like, oh my god, you're so sensitive. There was like, I love that part of you. I love, thank you for sharing your vulnerability. I'm not going to take it on, but thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your truth and being transparent with what's coming up for you. And so the parts of myself that I
Mhm.
judge or I'm ashamed of or afraid of, she was just very like, I love that about you, and like I know you're going to take good care of yourself, so that was new. That was beautiful. All
I
right.
love
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's keep it flowing. What's next?
I love it. Oh, Dakala says my womb was getting ready for action. My hands were moving by themselves. I realized I was actually ready and I can now bring it where I am. Yes. I love that. Oh, there's some beautiful comments here. Okay, I'm going to read all of these after because I want to keep going with the flow, but we have a Q&A plan. So we're going to go through all of the questions afterwards. All right. So spotlight's on you now. I'm gonna ask you questions. I'm gonna tune into my former journalist self
Uh,
and ask you all the juicy questions.
yeah.
Okay. So if you look at your journey, and I know you've done so much work around this for you, would you mind sharing some of your own practices that have helped call in these divine relationships and experiences in your life?
Yeah. So definitely I had a moment where my ex-wife walked out on me. Feels like a past life, 15 years ago or something more. And she was like, I just can't do this anymore. You know, the toxic side of my Aries that always would get into arguments and take things personally, was the wounded inner child just was pushing her away. And I vowed the first day, I was like, oh my God, I can see how in movies people lose their shit. Second day, I was like, God, universe, show me how, why, what can I learn from this? And I just had like a lifelong downloads of wisdom and opportunities to see this as a blessing. And I vowed that every week I will do a very deep alchemization and healing and remembering and personal development like every week. And it's been consistent since then. But then with that inner work, it just like meant it like when you're doing all that inner work, just know that the person you're going to attract isn't like one of the 100%. You're like, it's a smaller group of people who are doing all this inner work, and you can find them in the tantra community. You can find them in the personal development community. You can find them in the entrepreneurial or like life coaching or healing community. So just that becomes like, because you're having such a high standard for yourself, then it also means there's a more discernment of who the type of person you want to attract. So I'll definitely
Mhm.
say start with doing the inner work. How can I love myself? How can I rise in love with myself? Create a beautiful, juicy life with myself, find out what my needs are, make sure I'm getting those needs met. You know, for me, also, love language number one is touch. So cuddles, and I can be very intimate with friends without crossing that line with hugs and cuddles and, you know, watching movies together. And like, I make sure I get those needs met. Um, as well as doing the shadow work, a lot of shadow work, like really, when I say doing shadow work, meaning like, can you be honest with yourself? And I remember this tantra practitioner in New Zealand like slapped this truth on our faces. She's like, if you're not aware that the worst things that happen in humanity exist inside of you, if you cannot be honest with yourself and say all of that exists inside of me, and you're only saying the good in the world is in me, but you're neglecting that the bad in the world is not in you as a potential. It doesn't have to be actualized, but it's there as there's a potential for that to happen. So really going deep and like alchemizing that part. Okay, all these bad things I'm seeing out there, instead of saying they're bad, I'm like, that exists inside of me, and I keep it like I'm keeping it in check. I'm not acting on it. So
Mhm.
that was huge. And I don't know too many people in the new age community that can admit that if someone crosses the line with them, that or threatens their family, that they can't go into that part that like is aggressive or you know, will do things that, you know, outside of the love and light realm. So seeing all that potential inside of you but not acting on it creates a healthy relationship with the shadow aspects within ourselves from all the lifetimes we've had where we were the bad person, the good person, all of it. Definitely integrating the victim. So I spent half my life in blame and being victim, and it's someone else's fault, and it keeps me stuck. And then
Mhm.
living a life where it's like I'm taking responsibility for that. If something happens, well, how did I co-create that? You know, the
Mhm.
worst things where someone would say something and it would bring up all the pain. Thank you, higher self, for choosing this person to say the exact things that are going to bring up all this stuff. So it becomes less about that person. Okay, let's say it was
Mhm.
Ukraine. Thank you. You played your role. I'm going to go within now. I created my own modality called infinity healing. So I'll lay down in bed and only be present with this pain that most people want to
Mhm.
avoid. In Sanskrit, I think it's called sankaras, maybe
Some scars, yeah, some scars, yeah.
samskaras. So
Karma, yeah, yeah,
we don't want to create more negative karma in that moment where this trauma is being triggered. We want to fully be present with it, feel it fully. Oh, this hurts, all the rejection, all the pain. We don't want to go into story and blame because that creates more negative karma. So that became a whole mindset shift. Like, I'm going to play this game of life. And in this game of life, I'm co-creating these experiences, whether it's shadow entities coming in and infiltrating or interfering or bringing me these people into my lives that are going to like poke at me, which does
Mhm.
happen. Spiritual warfare is real. Um, but in the moment when it does happen, how can I go to my support systems? How can I go to my healers or the people who really hold space for me in a deep way? And then how can I just fully feel these uncomfortable feelings of rejection wounds and
Mhm.
abandonment wounds and all of that? How can I also practice radical transparency in my relationships? The Aries in me, and I know
Mhm.
Leos are notorious for this, is like, "Babe, no, I'm good. No, really, everything's
It's
fine.
fine.
Smile."
I
And
don't
then,
need anything. I'm
"Good.
good.
How to take care of it? All right, have a good one." And then they leave, and then the whole house turns into fire. Like, so like the shift was the shift was radical transparency. I'm a practitioner of radical transparency. Carine, and nonviolent communication. Carine, when you said that, I felt. So most people till this day will say, "You made me feel." That's giving your power away. You're saying that person has power over you. Words are very powerful. When you said that, I felt. So that way you're taking responsibility for your emotions. No one can make you feel anything.
Yeah.
So it's very important in our wording that we're the co-creators in our experiences. When you said that, I felt that. In that, you're taking ownership of it. You're being vulnerable and transparent, saying, "I felt hurt by that. I felt sad by
Yeah.
that." But it's really important that the energetics aren't in a blame energy, because blame gives the power away.
Yeah.
So I fully take responsibility for what I experienced and the emotions
Mhm.
that came up. And through transparency, this beautiful thing happens. Like, "Hey, babe, when you were talking to that guy, I really felt my inner child feeling scared, abandonment, blah, blah, blah."
Mhm.
And in that, instead, what I used to do in the past is keep it to myself, and it would just fester and grow. And it's like this dark cloud getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the assumptions I would create in my mind is like this story making machine. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that immediately means she doesn't love me. That immediately means she's trying
Oh,
to
gotcha.
betray my trust." Like, and like take a moment and like observe these thoughts. Don't A lot of us are believing these thoughts, or we're solidifying these stories that we're making up. So creating that space where it's like of curiosity of like, "Oh, I'm seeing my mind make up this story," and get very disciplined at going, "I'm creating the story." I've even got to the point where I share that transparency. "Babe, my mind is creating the story that dot dot dot. I would love to know from your perspective, what is your truth?" And by hearing that truth, it just dissipates the story. But what I used
Mhm.
to do before is, what ruined my relationships 15 years ago, was believing those stories. That my mind is such a control freak, story making machine, so much trauma of trust and betrayal, that it has 100 ways of trying to protect me. And one of the ways was to create everyone's an enemy to protect me. So it's like, can't trust Carine, can't trust Chandra, can't trust Lindsay. They're all out to get me. And this paranoia, this, because of some traumas from childhood, would just push everyone away. And the simplest thing is to have a relationship with that mind and let it know, "Thanks for trying to protect me, but I'm good. Like, I'm
Yeah.
safe." I hear you're saying, Carine, I can't trust Carine as a friend, but like, my truth is that I know her heart is pure, and
Mhm.
maybe she's just having a bad day today or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
And inviting that other person through really transparency melts hearts and brings people in. And the I'm good really pushes people away. And like, the ego protection mechanisms, where there's 100 of them, really pushes blame pushes people away. So
Yeah.
vulnerability takes courage, but it brings someone in and they feel honored. Like, "Wow, Green, when you shared that transparency, just it brought me in, and it genuinely wanted me to see how I can support you." And then also learning the what's mine to do, what's theirs to do. The healthy
Mhm.
codependency is toxic, where every time your partner has something come up, you're the healer, you're the nurse, you're the coach, you're that, is very toxic. And the empath in us just wants to be the mother, right? Like, my North Node's in Cancer. I feel so fulfilled when I hold
Yeah.
space. Lindsay, you're a beautiful Cancerian. that Cancerian energy just wants to be there, and but we want to make sure I feel good without the need to nurture others. Like I'm good on my own, like Carine was saying, I'm full and complete on my own. We don't want to come into the relationship as halves or holes in our souls, and we're completing that by being the healer for each other. And you also want to let go of the feeling needed feels
Mhm.
similar to feeling loved, but it's a whole different thing. So feeling needed is a trick of feeling loved. You really want to get that genuine, organic feeling loved from within and from outside, but not fall for the trap of, oh, they need me, so therefore they're not going to leave me. So the traps, the empath traps, the narcissists, a lot of empaths talk about narcissists, but like they have medicine for us too. They're the flip side of the empath, right? So where can I be more in my darker, healthy dark? I call it the healthy dark, the healthy dark side of us that is says what they want to say, has healthy boundaries, knows how to say no, because the narcissist is really good. Where are we not making putting ourselves first and always making it about others, and right? So they have medicine for us. As soon as you activate those parts of yourselves that you only see in the narcissist, like the healthy aspects of that, then you're the yin and the yang, and you're no longer needing to it's no longer attractive to you because it's already inside of you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I had to take notes because I'm like, I feel like you gave so many nuggets of wisdom.
Thanks.
Um, the story of, from moving from victim to victor is a big one,
Yeah.
right? It's really hard when you're in that triggered reactive state and your nervous system's like, right? And
Right.
you're going into the nervous system responses, which is like the fight or flight and the fawning and et cetera, right? And the freeze. It's very hard to not see yourself as the victim. But
Right.
once you work through it, and I still go through that where I do go into victim initially, and
Right.
then I'm like, all right, Carine, what is going on here, right? Really doing that deep dive, that self-investigation of like understanding what's occurring and moving into that victor, right?
Yeah.
And seeing everyone as like a divine mirror to your own shit, and seeing everything as a lesson, even the narcissist you dated that hurt you, that abused you, all of these things, once you have processed the wound and you can look at it from that perspective, going, oh, I can see what this person brought into my life,
Yeah.
the lessons, and thank you. One of the practices that I did when I went 2 years into my celibacy before I met my partner. I just wanted to be in my own space. I felt called to do that. At
Mhm.
that time, I was really working on my relationship wounds. And one of the things I did is I wrote a beautiful letter to all the men I have been with, and then just all
Right.
the relationships. And I said, thank you. Thank you for all the lessons. Thank you for all the gifts you gave me. I know it was painful. I know I went through a lot, but I can see now very clearly what you gave me and the gifts you gave me. And I have a dear friend who kind of gave me this visual of a ring, like a ring with tons of diamonds. And every relationship gives you a diamond, even the shitty ones.
Right.
What is that diamond? And then once that diamond ring is complete, that's when you'll meet your person
I
that you
love
want
it.
to king or queen, etc. Right?
Yeah,
So I
I
love
love
that. And
that
the other,
because
yeah,
that's a very important point, is going back to our past, because if we're holding on to all this guilt and resentment and unresolved things from the
Mhm.
past, it's really important that we do like a scanning of our past relationships, and like before
Yeah,
jumping into a new one, what are the lessons always needed to be learned from that, from those
yeah,
experiences? Where am I still holding on to stuff from childhood? I
sure.
literally had to like write it all down and reach out to my dad and have a heart to heart. Dad, I stole some money when I was a kid, and mom, I was really like stealing your
Yeah.
cigarettes behind your back, or like just like all of that stuff. It's just it just lingers. So you really want to like clean slate, karma clearing,
Yeah.
reaching out to people from your past. I'm sorry, I cheated on you. I remember reaching out to my ex, the only time I cheated in a relationship, and it just like ate me from the inside out. I was in hell, literally. There's no poker face. I have no poker face, and it was the worst thing ever. Is just kissing a person behind her back. It was just the worst. It was the worst kiss ever, and it just haunted me. And just like reaching out to these people and saying, I'm sorry I've wronged you in the past, is a game
Yeah.
changer. And it's the hard work that people don't want to have, these confrontational experiences, but
Mhm.
they're game changers, big time.
I love
Yeah.
that. And I loved how you mentioned inner child work because that's a huge part of it, right? A lot of the relational dynamics and the patterns that we repeat are from inner child wounding, right? And trust issues
Exactly.
around that.
Yeah.
And one of the things, and I love that you said, this is the story. And I say that a lot to my partners, like the story in my head is. And
Yeah.
oftentimes the story is has nothing to do with what he actually was thinking or feeling, right? It's like
Right.
it's our subconscious stories in our heads. And one of the practices that we do, it's really, really fun, is we have a name for our inner children. Like my inner child's name is Rosie, and his inner
Mhm.
child is Roland. And
All
so
right.
Rosie and Roland will have conversations together, and then he'll ask me things like, okay, well, what does Rosie need right now?
I
How can I support Rosie right now to feel safe?
Yes.
Right. And then I'll ask the same. Then we even buy each other's inner children a Christmas gifts and birthday gifts because it's
Yeah.
cute. We know each other's childhood and what we like, and we'll buy things for specifically for our inner children. So really
Yes.
nurturing each other's inner children if you are in a relationship, and you can do that even if you're single, right? I did a lot of this work, and you did a lot of this work with your inner child, as you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other
That's
thing you
such a
mentioned
beautiful
that,
hack, and
yeah,
we'll definitely
yeah,
do this in our group activation call. If you guys sign up for it, we're gonna do how to resolve conflict when it happens. There's literally like step by step how to resolve it, and like people just don't know what to do. That when you're triggered, it's like, what do you do? But if you have this formula of like creating space, sharing the vulnerability, asking for what you need, right? So, what does my inner child need right now? Just needs a hug. Well, I could spend an
yeah,
hour trying to fix it, or
yeah,
you
you
could
don't need to
just
fix
hack
it.
it
Yeah.
and just ask for what you need. So we have that for you guys, and we know healing the relationship with mom, dad, feminine, masculine is the root, and we'll do that in the call. Yeah.
That's exciting. And you mentioned one other thing that I really wanted to, if you can riff off of that, would be great, is loving the shadow aspects of us. It's really easy to love our light. It's really easy to love all the beautiful, wonderful things about us. But what about all the shit that we don't like and
Yeah.
that we don't want to hold on to, right? It's the parts of us that are not who we truly are, that conditioned part of us. How do you learn to love the shadow? I've had
Yeah.
my own journey of that, but what was your journey and your process to really embrace all parts of you,
I mean,
right?
the Aries in me is so extreme. So I remember when I was in my teenage years, it was like getting into Marilyn Manson, which I really believe is like one of the most satanic artists out there.
Oh,
Such an extreme example of like darkness and like everything society just says this is bad. And I was like, I like this. And it was like there was a phase where my guidance said like research the worst things that people have done. So I was researching what do you call them, like the Charles Mansons and the like all the famous American are they like psychopaths or like
yeah.
killers, and
Yeah.
just like studying their biographies from a place of like I'm investigating the dark side of humanity, what causes
Mm,
someone to do bad things, but not from a place of judgment, from a place of curiosity,
mm,
and just
mm,
putting myself, and I'm such an empath as I'm researching, I'm like there's no separation, I'm like feeling what they're going through, like I'm feeling that from a place of curiosity and
mm,
empathy. And so seeing all the bad things that happen. And I remember this new age author that whenever he sees good, he goes, this is in me. Like good thing, like he'll see a loving relationship. I have this inside of me, a
mm,
beautiful, expansive home. I have this inside of me. And the nudge I got was also to balance that with whenever, because what society does is they shun, they judge, but when you judge, unfortunately, now you just created a whole process for you to have to forgive yourself for that judgment. And at some point, you're going to embody the thing you're judging. There's seven
mm,
layer. If you guys look into the seven is seen mirrors by, just type that on YouTube, seven is seen mirrors. So you can't escape judgment. That's why judge not yet, lest you be judged in the Bible. And so it became more, I see negative things. I go, this also is inside of me. Narcissists,
mm,
psychopaths, like all these people who do bad things, this exists inside of me. And I was listening to a podcast the other, so also through podcasting, there's some podcasts that really dive deep into the darkest things on our planet. I've read books about like mind control sex slaves for the government and like the worst things you can experience in humanity. And I just find myself from a place of like I'm exploring, I'm observing. I'm never saying this person is bad, they should go to hell. Like I've had conversations with people where they're like, they should cut his dick off. And I'm like, I
yeah.
don't have that in me because I always have that curiosity. What caused that person to be where
Mhm.
they're at? What's the
Mhm.
root of that? Is it an entity thing? Is it a childhood trauma that hasn't been resolved? Is it the
Mhm.
person stuck in their reptilian brain? Guess what, guys? We all have a reptilian brain. What does the reptilian brain want? Excess. It's never enough. More, 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 more power, more money, more success, more, more, more. We all have that in us. It's the reptilian brain. Are they stuck in that part of them? Have they not evolved past that into the mammalian and whatever's past that? So having empathy, having understanding of this. And just, I remember telling myself, I was that in a past life. I was that in a past life, just as a way of, so for me, it's safer to be in a relationship with someone who's so in touch with their shadow self, who knows that they can do terrible things, but they don't feed it or they don't act on it. Or like for me, I have aggression, right? So for me, feeding that, there's healthy ways for expressing aggression. I can get into MMA, I can get into martial arts, I can get into jujitsu, where like the more aggressive you are, the more domineering you are, you're celebrated, right? So where are the healthy places? Like rap music can be very aggressive, and like one of my favorite rappers was Eminem. And I can, and like when I write things, I can be very aggressive, and but it's like, whoa, that was like powerful and positive and aggressive at the same time. So what are the healthy ways for you to express your shadow? What are the healthy ways to for you to feed the dark? You don't want to starve your dark. It wants to be seen, it wants to be expressed. And
Mhm.
I've experienced, bullying and putting down and abuse and trauma, and it's like, how do you alchemize it, and how do you not starve it and ignore it? Because if you shove it in the basement, it's going to get bigger and bigger and turn into the Hulk and destroy the whole house. But if you have a relationship with it and you visit and you spend time with it and you create space for it, it becomes part of the whole.
Yeah.
um, so that's what comes to mind.
Yeah, I
Very
love
extreme,
that.
very
I,
radical.
Yeah, I love that because I do feel like the more self-love and self-empathy we have and we practice, right? We develop that muscle, we're able to feel that empathy for others. And that's part of nonviolent communication. It's like everybody is behaving in a way to meet a need, right?
Right.
Everyone's behavior, like even Charles Manson, if you're able to see, you can acknowledge that what he did was horrible and not
Right.
okay, right? But you can empathize and understand that his behavior was an attempt for him to meet a certain need that was unmet.
Yeah.
As a child, he might have been abandoned. As a child, he might have experienced something. And
Right.
so him doing what he was doing, he thought he was doing the right thing to meet a need that's been unmet. Right?
Yeah.
When you start seeing things, but you're not able to see that if you're having judgment for yourself and you're in that energy of judgment. And everybody has judgment, right? And ultimately, what we want is that freedom and liberation from judgment and suffering. That's what liberation is, right?
Yeah.
Freedom and liberation and enlightenment. Like, what is that? It's freedom from suffering and judgment. That's
Right.
what we're trying to strive for. And the more self-empathy and self-love you have, the more you're able to see that in others, right? To see that
100.
we're all equal, we're all the same, and we're all wanting the same things. We all have the same universal needs. We just have a different way of expressing them through
Yeah.
our behaviors and our patterns, right? When you start
Yeah.
seeing the world that way, oh my God, like it's different. It's a very
And that
different.
doesn't mean like,
Mm.
oh, like this person is a psychopath. I empathize with them. I'm not going to judge them. Like, no, if that person crosses the line, you put your boundaries. If they come with aggression,
Absolutely.
like,
Absolutely.
in that moment, you can, do whatever you need to do to protect. Doesn't mean being passive. Sometimes
Yeah.
is misunderstood as like being
Yeah.
passive, but there's a big difference. Like just
Yeah.
because I empathize with you and you're stuck in some trauma does not mean I'm going to let you walk all over me or cross that line with me or my family. There's going to be consequences with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I watched the Weinstein documentary recently, and I was like, oh my
Mm.
God, this guy's either got entities attached to him and they're stuck, they're hooked on sexual energy, or he's just stuck in a cycle of childhood trauma and he's like not
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
liberate it. And every time we go, oh, I don't want to accuse this person, I don't, we could be when we're not stepping into that part that confronts and calls people in, or the words calling them out, we could be enabling them, right? So a lot of
Mhm.
times empaths
Mhm.
focus on the narcissist, but is the empath enabling the narcissist,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
That's a
Yeah.
really good point.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be with someone who's so in touch with their shadow, so aware they can do terrible things, rather than someone who's completely been ignoring their shadow and they just get tipsy one night and then they just do the worst thing ever, right? Like that's dangerous to me. Someone who's like, no, love and light only. That's very dangerous. It's very
The good
nice.
vibes only movement, right? It's wonderful new age bullshit.
Right. Yeah. It's a yeah.
I love it. Thank you so We can talk about this for hours. But I'm like, the Virgo in me is like, all right, let's keep it on time.
Yes.
Would you like to share an activation with us this
Yes, I
time?
would love to. So I feel like between the two things, like I remember working with this woman on a summit. She's worked with some of the greatest healers, and we did a, I don't know, 10-minute infinity healing. And next thing, I was invited to her wedding, and I was doing a love rap during her wedding as she manifested her soulmate. Just recently, when I was in Costa Rica, I did a love manifestation activation session with a beautiful yogi priestess woman, and the next day she goes smoke a cigarette, and she's like, no, my king doesn't smoke, and he doesn't like people who smoke. I'm not going to smoke. Like, it was the next
Oh,
day she's like aligned with that vision.
still.
Yeah, it chills, huh? And then I
Yeah.
also worked with someone 2 weeks ago. We hopped on a call. He is an Aquarius, and he manifested a beautiful Leo queen who paid for his trip to Morocco, and they're exploring beautiful intimacy and love connections. So these things. So between what Carine did, I would say that's the first part, is like putting it out, the manifestation, bringing it into the now. And this part is what I'll share as the other half of it, which is what's in the way, right? So if I have a stored trauma uh, that's rejecting it and pushing it away. So this is the second part we'll do today. Obviously, there's so much more we can do. And again, planting the seed that for those of you who really want to manifest a soulmate and take your relationships to the next level, we'll share with you an opportunity where we can do a whole deep dive. Less talk, more activations, more alchemizations on the next one. And we really want to, so I'll give you guys a sample of an experience that has allowed my clients to manifest their soulmates and take their current relationships to the next level. With those who are in a relationship, I had a client who had a narcissistic partner, and she's like, the level of like blaming, the level of toxic communication went from like, let's say 80% to around 10-20%. Like, it slips up. She's not internalizing it anymore. She's calling them in. But to have the same person, like the woman's working on herself and the partner is be less toxic. So that's how powerful women are. That's why they say like happy wife, happy home, because you're literally like transmitting it and rippling it to all your connections. So I invite you guys to clear your mind. We're going to pinpoint a core trauma. Sometimes there's like 5, 10, 15, depends on every person, but like let's say there's like 5 core traumas blocking your relationship to taking it to the next level or manifesting your ultimate soulmate. So let's pinpoint a core trauma that's in the way of what you're desiring, and let's alchemize it. So I invite you to clear your mind, bring your body awareness into your body right now as I try to find the perfect positioning to sit and be present. So, um, clear your mind, allow your body's infinite intuitive knowingness to let you know right now, what is the number one thing that wants to be worked on right now that's in the way of that infinite love, your ultimate relationships, manifesting your soulmate, taking your relationship to the next level. Clear your mind and allow your body to let you know, what is the first thing that pops up, what's in the way of this happening right now. It could be something from childhood, could be something with mom, with dad, past relationship, past life, ancestral. Some of you might get a visual. Some of you guys might feel it in your body. Some of you guys are like, there's nothing, it's not working. Trust, all of it is part of the process. What's the first thing that pops up? And if nothing pops up, and even if it does pop up, really the mind's curious to know what happened and all the details, but the truth is that your higher self just wants to let it go. So where is it stored in your body? So scan your body from head to toe. Where is it stored? So I'm feeling stuff in the left shoulder area collectively for us, the spine, neck, right? So shoulders, we're carrying on something that we need to let go. Throat represents not expressing our full authentic self. Left side represents the divine feminine, could be something with mother. Receptivity. Shoulder blade could represent feeling backstabbed, betrayed for all of us who have trust issues. Right? So keep scanning anywhere else in your body. Heart, I'm feeling the heart. So that's self-worth, self-love, self-acceptance, receptivity. And just imagine source energy pouring down like a powerful magical waterfall from the top of your head and just filling, just alchemizing, fleshing out all these things that you've located. Just flushing them out, alchemizing them, transmuting them, replacing them with what is best, the safety, the whatever the remedy is. Right? Trust issues, I trust myself. I have healthy boundaries. Imbalance with the masculine feminine, creating that harmony of both. Receptivity blocks, opening up to receiving. It's safe for me to receive. So filling the shoulders, letting it go. Who are we without this? How do we really surrender it and let it go permanently? Is it and showing all parts it's safe to let it go and replacing it with what is best, alchemizing it, alchemizing it, alchemizing it. We don't spend years healing it, talking about it. We could just undo it, just like it took 1 second to hold on to the trauma and store it in the body. It can also take us 1 second to let it go and replace it with what is best. So increase that waterfall. See if there's any parts of you that are like trying to hold on and a little rigid and stuck and like holding on. Just take a deep breath, loosen it up, open it up, allow it, let it receive, let it let go. I don't use the word release because that's a negative magic term, which means you're releasing, you're creating a new lease on it. So every time we try to let go, we're assigning a new lease for it. So let's undo it permanently in all space, time, and dimensions now and forever. Watch out for, I'm going to do a whole YouTube video breaking down these magical spells that keep us stuck. Okay, I'm feeling tightness in the power center, like where are we afraid to step into our full powers, showing all parts of ourselves that it's safe to step into our full power, clearing those past betrayals, trust issues. Breathe. So would you like an infinity healing to breathe in all the power you might have given away from this trauma, this core experience? Breathe in the power back, so you can literally play the game of life of the goal is to bring back my infinite freedom, empowerment, and sovereignty. And every time there's charge, there's trauma, bad things, quote unquote, happen, it's an opportunity for me to take back more of my power. So your highest self is going to orchestrate all these uncomfortable experiences for you to snap out of the the matrix, to remember that, oh, I got to take my power back from this. So feel free to play that game. And from a place of, now that I have all this power, I can choose to create consciously rather than letting my childhood create my love life, my love stories, letting my mom, my dad, my traumas create these love stories. So the subconscious traumas create these nightmares, whereas consciously our heart can create these more loving experiences. But knowing that the end goal is not the Matrix, see Walt Disney, happily ever after, Prince Charming saving me. So let's unsubscribe from all those disempowering, subliminal programs that found their way in our being, that are keeping us in like not a realistic way of looking at things, all the movies, TV shows, and really grounding in the latest, the newest, the most upgraded, empowering codes, programs, stories, mindsets, perceptions, perspectives about what love is in the highest level, what love is, what being in a loving relationship is, what being a woman is, a man, a human, relationship with the masculine, feminine, Grounding it all in, alchemizing. So there's still a big resistance, guys, for the power center. We might have to do it on the next one, but so really showing the mind, the ego, the inner child, past versions of ourselves. It's safe to own our divine power. It's safe to own our divine power. Anywhere where we witness abuse of power and we're afraid of power because we're afraid we're going to abuse it, would you like to clear it? Anywhere where we witness mom or dad give their power away to the other person as a people-pleasing survival mechanism, unlearning those programs, owning our infinite confidence in who we are, trusting ourselves. Okay, that was a big shift. Much better. Still there though. Keep bringing in that waterfall, flushing it all out, filling every part of our being. Deep belly breath. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then just tune in to the idea of a relationship, being in an ultimate relationship that you're currently in, or manifesting a soulmate. 0 to 10, 10 being it's completely healed. What's the first number that pops up right now after we've received that activation? First number that pops up, and put it in the chat. Actually, let's do it too, and then clear your mind. Where were you before this activation, before this call, before me and Carine hopped in and offered these activations and manifestations? 0 to 10, where were you before the call today when it comes to what we're focusing on in relationships? Perfect. Yes, just do a from. So Ramchandra, 2 to 9, amazing. Again, the names are messed up. It says Pash 3 to 6, Jeanette 3 to 8, Lindsay 4 to 8. Oh my God, amazing. The Kalo 6 to 10. Whoop whoop. Okay, beautiful, amazing, guys. Thank you for sharing. Ramchandra, betrayal, huh? So it's right that power center really stores those power struggles. Beautiful. Yeah, Sheba 1 to 5. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Thanks for doing that. So that's just a little sample of what we can co-create together. I mean, it was a big sample. My friend says 2 to 7. Okay, so Michelle, you're doing it with a friend. That's so cute. So your friend says 2 to 7. Amazing. So guys, is it okay if I share with you an opportunity for us to dive even deeper into all that we've just co-created? So I'll put this link here. It's the same registration link, targetbb.com/ can't remember what it was. Might have been Infinite Love, but I'll put it here. If you guys remember, if it was called targetview.com/infinite love, 2 things that we have for you today. One of them is, so we've got a program that me and a fellow healer co-created with the divine masculine and feminine. We covered everything we can think of, put it all in one program, clearing everything in the way of you having the highest, we call it from 3D to 5D, love in 5D program. And I'm just going to skim through it. There's so much there, but it's in the link that I've shared. Generally, it's 555 for this program. And you've got the restoration, the balance, the balancing the divine masculine, the activating the spiritual warrior, regaining your personal power, which today was the core, was a power center issue, building personal power, healing your past, owning your infinite power, regenesis, abundance, authentic self-expression, manifesting your dream reality, and just so much is into this, manifesting your soul tribe, your soul family, your soul mates, taking your current relationships to the next level. And we've got it for you guys for $97. So we'll put this in the replay email. You guys can also take advantage of it right now before it goes back to 555. And I just want to show you guys how to use the code. A lot of people had a hard time with it. So you see, it says use code manifest 5D. The M is capital, the D is capital. I wish we didn't do that. So just when you go to click on it, just put that in the code and I'll show you guys where that code is. Right there, code. So capital M, the word manifest, and then 5 capital D. And then all you guys got to do is click on, okay, it's usually 1000. So then you click on the tick right there. And voila, just like that, it goes to 97. And then you can put your info here and continue receive that as a Valentine's gift. And then the next amazing thing we got going on is me and Carine, which I'm really excited. I would say like 3 to 4 weeks from today, we can email all of you guys, find a day and time that works because it's going to be a live call. Imagine what we did today, but specific, like there were so many things you guys were requesting I wanted to get to, but we couldn't get to. So imagine you share your core beliefs that are in the way, the core emotions, the core traumas, the things from childhood, the things with mom and dad. Carine's going to share her juiciest manifestations and steps and techniques, and I'm going to share some deep alchemization. Like we're just going to get together from start to finish. It's less talk about our stories, and it's more let's alchemize and transform in real time. If you guys really are serious about manifesting your soulmate or taking your current relationships, as you saw, from lower numbers to like closer to 10 or 10 or above. We've had some people who are like, I'm 15 now. But I'm like, it's out of 10. Um, Same thing. Click on this part of the link where it says exclusive group call with Tarek and Carine. So for only 197, and I think if you're in the US, you could choose PayPal, and for 6 months, interest free, break it down into $50 payments monthly, whatever you want. Just type in manifest with a capital M, and then me and you and Carine and a bunch of other amazing people like yourselves who want more for themselves, who believe it's possible. So just put in manifest there, and then it goes down like magic into 197. Try to look at it as an investment. Tune into your heart, tune into your body, and just see that timeline where you do say yes to that. Fast track to the part where you finish the group call with me and Carine. Fast track to a month from then, and just tune in right now. What has shifted in your life when you have said yes and received an abundance of what me and Carine want to share and co-create with you on that call? What shifts in your love life? What shifts in your current relationships? What shifts within your being? And if that feels like an expansiveness in your body, if it feels like a yes, if you're visualizing some really amazing things shifting after that call, feel free to say yes and join us at the special rate. If you have any questions for us before we conclude, now's the time. But my guarantee, I can't guarantee you'll get what you want, but I'll guarantee that we will clear what's in the way of it happening right now. When it decides to happen is beyond us. It's the highest self, it's the universe, but we will pinpoint what's in the way, those core beliefs, those stubborn emotions that are just trapped in the fascia, like you said, Carine, and the muscle memory and stored in the body. We will just transmute, transmute, transmute. And some of you guys I've worked with in the past, Lindsay, you manifested your $10,000 package sales when we worked together. Ramchandra, you just keep every week sharing more and more miracles. So, and if you guys worked with Carine, please put that in the chat. All is possible. And sometimes it's helpful to have someone. You could be the world's best massage therapist, but me and Carine can get to those parts that are tricky for you to reach, and we'll help it happen a lot easier, a lot faster.
Yeah, and this is not talk therapy, right? I've worked with so many clients who come to me with, 10 years of talk therapy and nothing's moved. I'm like, yeah, because it's not in the cognitive. The stuff's not in the brain. And you guys are
Right.
just talking about all the stuff. We're going deep into the
Yeah.
grooves and helping you, teaching you, and holding space. Like, we're not doing the work for you. We're
Yeah.
just holding that space for you to do those clearings, right?
Yeah.
To learn and to have the tools and the resources, because you want to be well resourced, especially in these times, right? We want to be well resourced and to learn how to work with these energies, right? I think it's
Yeah.
super, super
I
powerful.
can't wait to have the recording to listen to it after I facilitate it with you and experience that. So if I just feel like if someone's like, I don't believe it's even possible, what would you say to them, Kareem? Like they're just like, it's never happened
Oh,
in the past. Why would it happen now? Like, why is this gonna be the
yeah.
change?
Yeah, having that hope and that faith is so important. Like being in that frequency of hope, knowing that you are not broken, there's nothing wrong with you. And that's one of the biggest messages that I want to share with the world is you're not broken. The world wants you to think you're broken, all the conditionings and the lies and the stories. There's nothing fucking wrong with you. You are perfectly and perfect and whole and complete. You just have to remember. And that's what we're doing here as your guides and your mentors. We are just helping you remember how whole you are and to really come home to yourself, to your body, to your joy, to your pleasure. So juicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Carine. That's beautiful,
Oh,
because if we're moving
Enchantress asked,
forward from
yeah,
a place of unbroken, we'll create a reality where I need to be fixed. And that is a
yeah,
never ending hamster wheel. We're saying, get off the hamster wheel, remember who you are. And if, from remembering who you are, you already unsubscribe to so many of these matrixy programs that keep you stuck and going in circles.
absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, there's someone asking if I can share my email or contact information. I can drop a link if you want to book a call with me. I do offer free
Right.
sacred pleasure calls where we
Yes.
just hold space for you for 30 minutes. I'll just drop that in the link and you can keep in touch with me that way. I'm also on socials. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. We're fire signs. We're everywhere. We're on stage everywhere.
Everywhere there's a scream, you'll see our faces. Yeah, I'll also share my break. If you guys want a free breakthrough link, I'll put it in the
Yes.
below. We'll also, Kareen, send that my way, the link for your breakthrough call. And
Yeah.
we'll also put it in the replay emails. But yeah, the special for the 197, me and Kareen charge a lot more usually for our one-on-ones and all this stuff. So we're going to keep that available for you guys till midnight tonight. I feel that's fair. If you guys need a little inspirational action nudge, a nudge for you guys to take inspired action, that's the nudge. Because I've noticed in the past when I tell people, oh, and when it's available forever, they're like, okay, I'll do it forever from
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
which never happens. It all happens in the now. Your biggest breakthrough happens the second all your stuff comes up. I'm worried. Is this possible? Oh my God. And you still
Mhm.
say yes and take action. That's when your biggest breakthrough happens. And my intention is whatever you invest in yourself, may it all come back to you 100-fold instantly, financially, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, sexually, all levels.
Yeah. And that liberation and that pleasure, all of the things that you're calling in, it's your birthright. So if ever you think that, oh, this is not possible for me, or, it happens to other people, not me, we're going to rework that programming because this is your birthright, that love, that joy, everything you're calling in and everything you're craving. And I want to also, before we end the call, I want to reflect back how powerful your activation was, Tarek, because I really felt it in my body. Like I could feel the trauma leaving my body and I could really viscerally feel it.
Yeah,
And initially I saw my mother, and then all of a sudden, two of my former abusive bosses came up, and I wasn't expecting that. So it's like when you surrender to the healing and you just receive this kind of activation and transmission, who knows what will happen? I was like, oh,
right.
interesting, and just observing things with curiosity, right? I was like, oh, I thought I cleared these two bosses out of my frequency, but apparently they're still there. And they just
Yeah.
removed the remnants of whatever was there, and you just kind of flow with it, right? It's just such a beautiful, pleasurable experience.
Thanks for sharing that, Karine. I
Yeah.
love it. So just like with you, I do manifestations every day, and there was something new that happened today. I was like, what? This is new through your manifestation. And I want to remind you guys that I work with like high level light warriors and advanced spiritual beings, and yet still with the healing, there's deeper layers that haven't been dealt with. Like, yeah, so even though you all are amazing healers and you've done all this great work and all the people you've worked with are amazing, I feel like what me and Karine bring to the table is like we're getting to the root of the root of the root of the root. Um,
Mhm.
and it's very result based. Like I don't think like for me, I have I don't know 90% success rate. Like if I'm so used to people manifesting what they want that when they say it didn't work, it's a big shock to my system. So right? So we're all about the results and tangible results. Like you will
Yeah,
notice shifts, tangible
yeah,
shifts. Yeah.
absolutely.
So looking forward to
I
seeing
would,
you guys on that call. We'll pick the day and the time through emails. Everyone
yeah,
who signs up will email you separately and say what day and time works for you and works for us, so we can do it. We'll record the call, and yeah.
beautiful.
Any
And I
final?
know we're over time by a little bit, but I did promise in the beginning that we would address some of the questions. So if
Yes.
if you guys have to leave, we honor your time. That's okay. But if you asked a question, you want to stick around a little bit for us to answer these questions, Tarek, if you're okay with staying a little bit on and then
Yes,
just go through the
please.
questions.
I have
Quick,
a
quick,
big
quick.
family lunch. The whole family's gathering right now
Oh,
and
yes, you're right.
19th.
Yes, I forgot
But yeah,
about
let's
that.
take 5 minutes, and if we
Just five
missed your
minutes.
question before, please re ask it or copy and paste it, and
Yeah,
let's.
or just reach out to us. Like we're super excited. accessible. Just email us, send us the message. Like, we're so open to answering any questions that you may have. So here, oh, Sarah is a beautiful dear client of mine, is in my current container. Love you. Okay, so thoughts on how to keep the faith while you are waiting. I love that question so much. Yeah, it's not waiting. That's the thing. It's not waiting. There is no end goal, right? So I'm gonna compare this to when you're self-pleasuring or making love and you're chasing the orgasm. You're going to that end goal. You're like, all right, let me just get off so I can just get that orgasm and just be done. That's not what this is. It's a whole journey. It's a process. Can you flow and move with the waves of experiences? Flow with the ups and downs, the pleasure and the not so pleasurable grooves of your relationship, of your life. Because once you embrace the journey and the process, you'll get what you desire and you get what you want, because there's medicine in where you're at right now. There's medicine in what you're experiencing, right? You can love and accept and be content and happy with what you have right now and be grateful and yearn for more at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive. Like, you can have both at the same time. So I hope that answers your question. I don't know, Tarek, you want to add to that?
No, I think that was complete. Let's take
Perfect.
in another question. Someone
All
said
right.
earlier, how do you know the difference between, oh, by the way, Denise, congratulations for signing up. Thank you so much. And I'm reading your comment here about the Love in 5D. So worth it. I did that program 8 years ago. Thank you. Thank you. Carine, someone was saying, how do I know the difference between someone who's coming in to speed up my evolution as a short-term thing versus the person who's coming in, but they're the long-term?
Ooh, that's a really good question. You see every relationship as what it is in that moment, not what the potential is in the future, right? In this moment, is this relationship serving you, right? If you keep saying, oh, is this person the one? Is this person, is it nourishing you? Is it respectful? Is it loving? Are your boundaries being respected, right? It's not about perfection. Is this person currently meeting all your relational needs? If they are, and you see you have aligned vision, you have an aligned dream of the future, it's great. Stick with it and stay and see where this grows into. It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could be, we're too attached. Like, you removed a lot of the, Disney princess and prince programming, right? It's not about happily ever after. It's not about finding that person that you're going to be with for 30, 40, 50 years. And, it's about, in this moment, I choose this person every single day. You may not be with it. Like, I love my partner to death. He is my soulmate, my divine partner, everything. 10 years from now, I may not be with him.
Yeah.
I don't know that. We don't
No
know the future.
attachments.
We don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, there's no attachment to where this is going. Yes, I'm planning a future. Yes, I
Sorry,
see a
sorry,
future with.
Corinne. My family's already starting to eat. I haven't seen my brother this whole trip that I
If you
physically,
want to go, I can
and
keep
I'm leaving
going with
to.
the
So I made
questions.
you host. Please stay. Please ask Corinne questions.
Perfect.
Love you guys. Looking forward to co-creating with you.
A beautiful
Appreciate you.
lunch, Valentine's lunch with your family.
Thank you.
You're so welcome, Mom. Beautiful. So it's about choosing this person every single day. Like, you wake up in the morning, you're like, I choose you today, right? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, even if you're married, you don't know. I thought the person I married was going to be the person I end up growing old with and like living a life with. Fast forward 18 years later, I was like, yeah, this isn't serving me anymore. I've grown out of it, right? To trust that, to trust that. So I hope that answers your question, Sarah. Michelle says, can you talk a little bit about feeling safe in the body? Yes, absolutely. So when you have these trauma grooves in your nervous system, so every time you have an intense experience or an intense event in your life, that could be anything. It could be being catcalled, it could be your boss abusing you, it could be rape, whatever it is, right? It creates a trauma groove in your nervous system in your body. So the work is to release. I'm going to stop using the word release thanks to Tarek. So we're going to clear and alchemize these grooves and create new grooves of safety in your nervous system, right? And this is a lot of the work that me and Tarek do. A lot of times when we have these trauma grooves, we tend to have these nervous system reactions and responses, right? You've heard of fight or flight and freeze and fawn, all these responses that we tend to go to and gravitate towards when we're not feeling safe in our bodies and when we're in that trauma response. So as you do this work and as you work through your triggers and really hone in on what your needs are, right? what your needs are, your relational needs, but just your needs as a human, as a universal, you start to really feel safer and safer in your body. When there is a trigger, a lot of times we disassociate from our bodies. We leave our bodies. So working with safety and bringing safety into your nervous system, into your body, is coming back into your body. So I do that sometimes now, even when I'm triggered and I'm having a trauma response, I feel myself disassociating and leaving my body, right? And I have this practice of really grounding back in and making myself feel safe, going, okay, I'm safe. It's safe for me to come back in my body and to feel this, to really feel this so I can move it. So a lot of it's deeper than that. So it's really hard for me to answer that question in a more clear way, but that's kind of just the overall experience. I think that was about it in terms of questions. I don't know if I missed anything, but let me see. I love that. Stop waiting. Yeah, right? Just stop waiting. Oh, you're so welcome, Saiba. You're so good at seeing that. What is the next call y'all were speaking of and how to register for that one? Oh, right. So that is the link that Tarek posted in the, maybe posted in the chat. Okay, so let me just repost that in the chat. So the one you see there for 197, which is the group call with me and Tarek, you'll see it on that page. If you can book that before midnight tonight, we're going to pick a date in the next couple of weeks that works for everybody who signs up. And we're going to hold space for you to clear some of these blocks to bliss. Thank you, Shiva. Thanks for joining. Reframe from release to clear. Yeah, I love that too. All right, beauties, thank you so much for this. I hope you received everything that was in alignment with your soul, with your higher self. I am blessing all of your divine partnership manifestations and visions with lots of sparkles and light for them to come to fruition with ease, grace, and flow. Love you all. Mwah. Happy Love Day.